sure that you guys can hear me, which you can. This is now the club soccer section. So, hold on. Club soccer. So this to me is the biggest red flag that every other college recruiting company does not talk about. And this is probably the most important part, because if you're not playing club soccer, you're not going to get recruited to play college soccer. If you don't have good video from club soccer games, particularly the highest levels, you're probably not going to get recruited. In your email template, if you don't mention that you're playing club soccer, especially at the higher levels, you will probably also not get recruited. So the club soccer part is super important. Now, the reason recruiting companies don't talk about this is because most recruiting companies are paying club soccer teams or foundations or organizations. You know, ODP is being paid by a scouting zone or by College Fit Finder or NCSA. They're all being paid by somebody. So they don't want to knock off like, oh, ECNL is better than MLS Next or vice versa, because, you know, it would disturb their clientele. But I come in kind of breaking down the doors going, hey, this is something we need to talk about if you want to play college soccer. And it's important that we talk about this because club soccer is just, it's too important to ignore. And we need to talk about it if you want to play club soccer. So there's going to be a lot of ways to go about this, but I just want to kind of start off with the kind of the pyramid and we'll go from there. So you have MLS Next for boys. That is the top. For girls, it is ECNL. That is just the deal. Okay. For boys, then it is ECNL. Then it's ECNL RL, or you could argue, you could even make the argument, again, this does vary by team, and I'm going to give a caveat here in a second. Boys Elite Academy. You could probably argue, this is going to be the girls' side over here. So you could probably argue both ways. Now, I will also say this. With the ECNL Boys Elite Academy, it's a really good level. Same with, and I'll put here, Girls Elite Academy. Girls Elite Academy. This is also a very good level, and there are Girls Elite Academy teams better than ECNL teams. So you also want to keep in mind the following. I haven't gotten through the levels yet, but I'll just actually put a note here. Note is your coach and your club's reputation matters. I think the best way to explain this is give you an example. I'm working with a current student who's a ECNL RL all-region level player. His ECNL RL team's ranked number 5 in the country, and he's playing ECNL RL. But he's a big fish in a little pond, so he might even get more offers and interest from Division I schools because he's a better player in a smaller league. So similarly, like if you're Gatorade Player of the Year in high school, which would make you the best player in high school, you'll also get Division I offers. So, you know, there is a relative point here. My point is, don't just go leaving because you're not playing MLS Next or ECNL. Like, your club matters. Another great example is I work with Laguna, and when I say work with, you know, we don't have they're not paying me yet anyways, because I want to make sure that my goals are always in line with the students, not by any one particular place. So in their case, our relationship works like this. I know that Laguna United produce really good players, and because they have really good coaches. So I would say to a family, like, don't leave to an MLS Next team maybe if your team is doing really well, because you have a really good coach who has a good reputation in the college world, and they can help you. Now, those are the exceptions, okay? The same with that ECNL RL player I told you about, their coach has a really good reputation in the college soccer world. So it might make more sense for you not to leave. I hope that makes sense. So it does vary, which is why if you have a question about that, you should call me, join my classes, which you already are, and work with me privately. So you have MLS Next, ECNL RL, then you could do that. Then you could probably say NPL, then there's NPL Pro, then there's E64, then there's Boys Elite Academy 2. To be honest, all those Boys Elite Academy 2, for NPL Pro and NPL, the East Coast have like some very good levels. I was speaking to a coach the other day of a Division II school, and he was saying, like, you know, NPL Pro in our region is very good. So you have to do the research in your region, or if you're not sure, you can talk to me privately and I can help you. Level on East Coast is good. So ECNL RL is also still very good, but just to give you an idea, this is like D3 region, you know, roughly. This is probably like D3 still through D2 and some D1s. And then MLS Next are still D3s. Look, there's still D3 players for the most part, and then there's some top level D1s. So it's not like clear, but that's when the coaches read your email and they haven't seen you and you say I play Easton RO, they're going, okay, this is maybe a D3 level student. So you just need to know that, because we're gonna have to fight against that in our emails. We're gonna have to explain, yeah, but the other day we played against an MLS Next team and beat them, or the other day I was offered a tryout for an MLS Next team. Or you just have to give them a relative concept so they know, oh, you might be Easton RL, but this is why you're not a normal Easton RL player. Or maybe there's a different scenario where it's like you are an NPL player, but you recently scored a hat trick and you're doing really well. Or, there's always exceptions to these, on top of the fact that your coaches, again, have reputations. Please reach out to me privately so that way I'm able to help you in regards to your situation, because that will be really helpful. Then girls is similar. It kind of covers the same basis here, and the rest is pretty much the same for girls as well. And yeah, I have another YouTube video I'll attach here that's goes really into depth, but this is pretty much all you need. So now you have a pretty good idea of what these levels are for club. You just need to know this because of this. I'm about to tell you. You need to know that there is no Girls Elite Academy 2 right now. You need to know this, and I'll also put ODP, which I know a lot of you will ask about. So ODP, I'll just put here as an extra. ODP is very helpful to play college soccer, because you can say you got invited in your emails, but ODP teams are not being actively recruited. You're being actively recruited if you're playing MLS Next or ECNL and you're going to showcases. Girls Elite Academy also, when you're going to showcase, that's when you're actively being recruited. ODP is a good resume booster and can be really helpful, but it's not what's going to get you recruited. But it's still a great thing to say. So now here's the next thing. You're like, Zev, I'm playing call-up soccer. I don't know if I should stay. I don't know if I should go. Here's the deal. If you're not really sure, you need to reach out to me privately. However, the other thing I would say is every year you should be looking to go up. I'm a prime example. I played AYSO, was on the B team, then tried out for the All-Stars, was on the B team again. Then I played club soccer at what was called Coast Soccer League at the time, which was low level. I played bronze, then I tried out, played silver, tried out, played gold. Didn't play a minute at all when I was playing gold. Then there came a point when I was 14 where nobody picked me. Not a single person picked who I was. Not a single player. And then I happened to have this coach, private coach, who was you can play for my U18 boys. And that's where I was training, because no team would pick me. Then I went to Eagles, which was at the time a premier team, but I didn't play that much. Then after Eagles, I went to, it was called LAFC Chelsea, which was another Coast Soccer League in Premier level. And then at high school, I didn't make the varsity team ever, as a matter of fact. Even as a junior, I played as a JV soccer player. But, I was constantly playing against players better than me, constantly trying out for the next level. And by my senior year, I made the MLS Next of today, or the Boys Elite Academy. And even then, the center mid starting in front of me was voted the player of the year, and was the year after, at 19 years old, was drafted to the MLS. So it was extraordinarily competitive. But because I was always trying out for the next level, eventually I did make it. And then after making it, I was going to ID camps still, and by going to those ID camps and being able to say, look, I play for the Development Academy at the time, when they would watch my video, they would look at my emails. When they saw my video, they would know. In my video, I would say, hey, this player right here, who I'm playing next to, he actually got to play against Manchester United in a scrimmage. And I would say that, and that got people to understand what level I was. So every year you have to be looking to go up. Now you have to be mindful, because if you do that, you're going to burn some bridges with your club team. This is where I want to talk about the club coaches. So club coaches, hey, listen to me. Club coaches, look, they make anywhere from 1,000 to maybe 1,500 per team. Okay, that's not enough, and I'm from California. It's not even close to EAT. So that means they have 4 teams. And they are judged by winning and losing. So they don't even necessarily care. The good coaches do, but a lot of them don't even care if you go to college, because that doesn't actually judge. They don't get judged on their ability to produce college players. The girls' side, it's a little bit better. They are judged a lot more. But on the boys' side, especially, it's like winning, losing, winning, losing. That's how I get noticed as a club coach. And being a club coach doesn't really help you become a college coach. You just have to do that separately. There's some overlap, but these coaches just care about winning, and they just kind of care about themselves. They don't often have you guys best at heart, which I think I do, because I understand, look, I'm a professional soccer player now. I've gone through every part. I've gone through the youth soccer level, not playing a minute at the lowest levels, to then becoming an All-American in college, to then not playing a minute and going to open tryouts to try and go pro, to then going pro, to playing in front of 20,000 people, to then not being on the team again, and then making $1,500 a month as a pro, realizing that's not going to be able to feed me for the rest of my life. So I've gone through every single piece of it. So what I'm telling you guys is it's really important that you understand the perspective of these coaches, okay? And especially if your parents listening to this, anytime you talk to the coach, you're pretty much losing. Everything should come from your son or daughter. It should pretty much never come from you unless it's about like an urgent matter. If you have a message you want to send to the coach, it should come through your son or daughter, and your son or daughter needs to be the one actively approaching them about playing time, about the videos that they're missing or whatever. Everything should come from the child. Club coaches, I would argue, probably 90% of the time talk about how much they hate you, parents. Or, yeah. And also, if you're a parent with like a financial background, like let's say, I'm from Malibu, California, the club soccer teams I played for, and the parents that were on my team, we came from a wealthy standpoint. The coaches would come over to like our houses and they'd be like, oh my gosh, like they're jealous of you, okay? They want to be you. Instead, they're working 7 days a week at something they love doing, but not making a ton of money. And so then when you say to them, hey, how come my kid's not playing? They're just so angry. And you're making them even more angry by talking to them and in a way putting in their face like, oh, you're just my kid's club coach. But also as parents, some of you are way too aggressive. And you're like, how could as almost like you're treating that coach way more important than anything else in the world because they're going to play your son or daughter. And what I'm telling you have to understand the coach's perspective. This is what they do because they love it. It's not for the money, and they just want to coach soccer. They don't really want to talk to you pretty much ever. And also, I don't care. I mean, some of you parents definitely know what you're talking about, but it doesn't matter. Your job is not to be right. Your job is to encourage your son or daughter to get to the highest level possible. And the number one way to do that is for them to enjoy the process. And you don't want to have to deal with the coach. Now, if the coach is like a problem, then of course, talk to me and we can help you switch teams and everything. But you need to understand this about the club soccer landscape. So now that you understand, every year you want to be trying to move up. Now, the question is like where and how do you do all that and everything else? I'm going to give you the links of the ECNL, of MLS Next, basically their websites, which I'll show you here in a second of how to go through all that. But I just want to tell you before I do is that getting their emails can be challenging. It's all possible. It's all on the website. But if you're trying to jump like from 0 to MLS Next, you're out of your mind. The MLS Next teams that are directly affiliated with the Galaxies of the world, like with a MLS team, they're not really scouting. Okay, if they hear about some kid that's phenomenal, then they'll just bring him to their team. They don't need to go actively scouting. If it's the best kid in the area, they're just going to take him. Now, if your job though is to go, like in my case, nobody ever thought I was like the best kid in the area, kind of until college. And even then in college, I still use the same concept, which is I'm going to promote myself. So I know it sounds crazy, but like video for your sons or daughters, if you're playing club, if you're at a young level, or if you're at the older level, video is so important for learning. Now, if you work with me privately, I can even talk to you about, this is what your son or daughter needs to do differently on the soccer field as a soccer player. But of course, my perspective is through the recruiting process. I'm going, look, I need more long balls. I need more goals. I need more assists. I don't really care about if the team wins or loses, other than if it helps you go to a tournament that then gets you recruited. My perspective is getting recruited for college soccer. So let me just take you through this real quick. If you go to the ECNL website, let's do women's soccer, just to begin with, although it has both. You want to find out when their tryouts are. Obviously, what you want to do is you've got regional league, and here, if you go to the club directory, it will take you basically to their site, and it has all the teams' names here, and you can try and figure out which one is near your area. The better way to do this, to be honest, is instead go to standings, because it automatically separates it by region. So let's just do California, just because I'm from California, so I'm very familiar. I'm pretty much familiar with most of the clubs, but I'm like particularly familiar with the clubs from California area, because obviously I grew up there, and I played for probably more than half of these teams. So like Eagles, I played for Eagles, for example. I played for LAFC. I played against Beach. I played for the Breakers. So I pretty much know all these teams. So this is, what age group is this? This is the, 2010s. So then you would go to their website, official website, and, oh, what the heck? That's weird. Okay, let's just go to Eagles, SC, girls soccer, ECNL. That's weird. Sometimes that can happen too, though. Not out of the question. Okay, can you guys see me? I hope you can see me. Hey, what the heck? You can't see me because I went to the wrong one. Sorry. ECNL women's soccer website. It didn't work for some reason. I don't know why the website didn't work, but now it should work. So ECNL women's soccer. Let's go to the Eagles website. We will go to the website of the Eagles. Wow, their website really isn't working. That's so weird. Okay, let's just skip this one. Let's go to LAFC, ECNL. Oh, that's so weird though. That doesn't make sense. Why would their website not work? I don't have a good answer for you, everybody. Let's skip that one for now. So ECNL LAFC Youth. This is technically, this particular team is affiliated with LAFC, but it's like official and unofficial. So let's say we want to go to the coaching staff. This is a good way to start. This guy AB has been coached me when I was like 7 years old. He didn't particularly love me as a player, to be honest. Terry coached me. He ran me into the ground. I did not enjoy that, to be honest. And all these coaches are great. So you would find out, here we go, girls ECNL director, here's their email, here's their phone number, and guess what? You will use the same exact concept you use for college as you will for club. So you would write them a beautiful email, you would write about them for a second, say something genuine, you would attach a video, and then you'd ask for a tryout. That's why having your video is so important. And pretty much the contact for these people are all here, and they want people to join their club. They want it all the time because that's money for them. So it's not that out of the question. Now let's do MLS Next for you boys out there, because MLS Next is a little bit more challenging to get their emails. You have to do like quite a bit more research, and I would say, I've done this a few times now, it is not easy to get a hold of them, especially with like the MLS Next team. So let's just do FC Golden State. That's a good team. I've also played against them, and even their pro team actually was affiliated with for a little bit. So look, right now it's not working. I can't click on them. So then we'll go to FC Golden State, MLS Next. Then you Google it. Let's see, here it is. Here's their website. Of course, this is assuming that you know they're in the region that you live in. Now, here's the other thing. I know a lot of you guys won't be able to afford these, or not a lot of you. Some of you might not be able to afford these, or they're really far away and you can't go. That's okay. Do your best, collect video, play for the club team you're with. That's basically the best thing you can do when it comes to these teams. I don't know why. It is not loading. It is ridiculous. Come on, load. Okay, it will have to load later. So, you're getting the idea here of how to find their emails and everything else. That's annoying to me, and I want to find their emails. So MLS Next. Boys, let's do this better. I want to find, okay, let's do, there they are again, Florida. Okay, so here what you do is you go to standings. Let's go to the U16 standings. This is for MLS Next. And this is the standings. This looks like the schedule. I want the standings. Here we go. Standings, sorry. Standings. Give me the standings. Here we go. Schedule and standings of the U15s. So standings is helpful, like I said, because it tells us by region. So obviously this is like East Coast-ish region. These are also their ranks right now, so you can see like which teams are the best. We want to do it by the playoffs. This is what coaches will be looking at for sure. The U17 tournament. Okay, this is right now they're putting them in rank, so it's okay for now. It doesn't matter. But let's say you wanted to reach out to this River Plate team. Okay, that's why they make it difficult, because they do not really want you guys reaching out to these teams. It is very annoying. So here's a good example. FC Cincinnati. I helped one of my players recently go to their tryouts. I'm gonna tell you how we did that. What we did is this. FC Cincinnati, MLS Next. So if this happens to be within your region, you're gonna click here to Academy. Remember, at the Academy level, there's gonna be an email somewhere, because they have to, because they're dealing with children. So here we go to Academy staff, and these are the names. So this person can be looked up on LinkedIn, and you can find them on LinkedIn and send them a direct message. Obviously, it's gonna be hard to get a hold of them, but now you have the names. Having the names is a good first step. Now we still want to get a hold of them. So residency program, you can apply, you can always apply, but like they're not going to respond. I would not recommend doing this unless you've had some prior conversations with them. But then what you want to do is you want to go to residency camp, looking for host families. That is a good way to get in. We just want any contact information, almost of any kind, and then we can get a hold of them. But yeah, you can see here it's taking me a minute because every single team is different and they're very good about not sharing because they don't want to share. And that takes back to here, academy questions, FAQs. This will probably have questions about tryouts. So starting, what kind of player you're looking for? How do you join? Players are identified for positional inclusion, Here's an email. So this is a good email to start with. Again, you want your highlight video, your email template, just like we've discussed before. But we still want to see if we can find something a little bit better than that. And I want to find something better than that. So I want more from this. I'm disappointed so far. That is not giving me anybody to talk to. Let me see here. Wait for it. Okay, here's a good example too. So this explains FC Cincinnati affiliate club and partner club. So here it talks about if you're in the Cincinnati area, these would be good clubs to be a part of because if you do well in these clubs, you will get connected to FC Cincinnati. And also coaches at these clubs will have contacts with coaches at the team. Now it's the academy, click here to become a partner. Okay, there is that. Now I have to say, you can see here how difficult it is. This is with MLS Next teams in particular. You know, with the LAFC team, we were able to find an email right away. With these ones, less so. The big thing is we want to just figure out when they're training, to be completely honest, and we just want to show up. That is really the best way. So what I'm disappointed with is, now I think I've ended up with the first team. I have ended up with the first team. I don't want the first team. We want the young kids. FC Cincinnati. So then let's do this. Let's Google FC Cincinnati tryout MLS Next. And it takes us here and it gives us again back to kind of where we started. So you can see how difficult it is. Now here's the other option is you go to LinkedIn. And when going to LinkedIn, you would type in FC Cincinnati. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. You would go to LinkedIn and you would type in FC Cincinnati. FC Cincinnati, and see if you could find any people that we could find. And remember, we already found the names of them on their website, so you would put in their names and that would give us some relative contact. But I'll be the first to say it is not easy. So what I would recommend for MLS Next teams is I would find out, which is difficult, where they train. So if you happen to know because you're in the region and you've heard about where they train, A+ to you. Talk to the coaches, find out where they train, and just show up at the facility and go, I want to try out. What do I do? With one of my players recently, that's why I was looking here, we were able to find a tryout for the U14s. He was U6, U17, but what we did is we had him show up to the U14 training session and then said, how do we show up to the next one? And that's how we were able to get him a tryout with the MLS Next team. You know, that is how this process works. It is very difficult. So with the club soccer, as a summary, what I just want to say is it can be very difficult throughout the process, but you have to, number one, reach out to ECNL MLS Next teams constantly. I still want to find you like a better email, so I'm going to try and do that. Secondly, or thirdly, so if you want to stick around and watch me do that, you can. Thirdly, every single year you want to be trying out for the best team. And then fourthly is like if you're not sure how to navigate your political process with your club soccer, which I promise you probably have some issue. A parent is the problem, a manager is the problem, the coach is the problem. Come talk to me privately and I can help you navigate that because like I said, I have done all of those things. So give me 1 second. I want to look up MLS Next. I want to show you this too, the ECNL. Well, I already showed you ECNL website. So what I'll do is I'll just put that in the document for you. ECNL. So here's the website for ECNL, and you're able to find out like ECNL boys, ECNL girls, whatever you guys want. So there's the ECNL website. So I'll put this up here with Club Soccer. And then for the MLS Next stuff, I want to show you guys that too. MLS Next. Yeah. MLS Next Reimagined. Here's the website to them, which would tell you, basically where all the teams are and everything else. Clubs. These are the list of clubs as well as their websites. So look, I have to say, with SC Cincinnati, we kind of took a loss there. We couldn't really find any contacts. So let's see if these are all MLS teams and their websites. Ugh, this is not what I want. See, that's where it gets tricky. It gets tricky there because there are more MLS Next teams than that. That was just literally MLS teams. There are teams that are not technically MLS that are MLS Next. And so we want those. Let's do the standings for the U19s. And pretty much, if they have U19s, they have every other age group. So that gives us a good idea. So here we go. These are some teams all over the country that will help you find. So let's just say we wanted to reach out to Nomads. An error has occurred. So there you go. It won't even take us. So let's then say we wanted to look up Nomads. Nomads, MLS Next. It'll be easier to contact MLS Next teams that are not directly affiliated with MLS teams like NFC Cincinnati. So then you'd go to Nomads. You can see here, right, boom, right here, piece of cake, contact us. And here's a mailing address. Here's the name of the director of coaching. See how easy that was? This is still an MLS Next team, just not an MLS Next team directly affiliated with an MLS team. This is a good place to start. Look, there's his email for you. Voila, done. Happy days. Thanks for watching all that. And as a reward for you, I will put this here in the document and be like, hey, look, this is Nomads MLS Next contact info. And then now you have that, which is pretty cool. Pretty dang cool if you ask me, if you know what I'm saying. Except it won't copy paste. Why won't it copy paste? There it goes. There's ECNL. There's that. The same goes for E64 Boys League Academy. You just Google it. It's super easy. It's not that complicated. I would just add here. I want to put this in here. This is the MLS Next standing. So all these teams have other teams, and all these teams are in the MLS Next. So you can know which teams have MLS Next affiliated clubs within your region. So like here's the West Coast, like LA United, LO Alpha is like far downtown LA. If you're not close to them, it's gonna be difficult to find an MLS Next team. Now you also have like the Galaxy and some other ones as well. So this is just MLS Next Flex. You also have to look up, let's look up this one for a second. This is Generation Adidas. Yeah, there's Los Angeles, there's Weston. These are teams in playoffs, so that's a bad example because they're all over the country. This just takes us to the standings of all of the MLS teams in the actual MLS. So you can see how frustrating this is. This is driving me nuts. MLS Next. MLS Next Youth Standings. This should not be that difficult. Here are the standings for 15-year-olds in MLS Next. So this is better because this shows us every single team by conference. So I'll put that here. Then you can do it by age. Sorry about that. So Colorado Rapids, Seattle Sounders, Salt Lake, Los Angeles, Timbers. This is in the West Division. And you can see those are like just MLS teams. Now look, FC Bolton, that's not an MLS Next directly affiliated. Either are any of these teams on the East Coast. We keep going. You can see some more. And you're starting to get an idea now of how this works. Here you go. In the West Coast, you've got Golden State Strikers, Barca Residency in LA, Football, LA Surf, Chula Vista, Nomads that we looked up before, Moretta, Albion, Santa Barbara, the Soul. And now you see there's a lot more teams. The other one was a Flex, which is just MLS Next teams. So yes, it gets complicated. So if you want every single MLS team, here is the link for that. I apologize, it took me a little while to find it. They apparently changed everything on me. And this is every MLS Next team. Every MLS Next. Come on, every MLS team. And this is every ECNL team. Every ECNL and every ECNL RL team. Okay, guys, I think that pretty much sums it up on club soccer. If you have any questions about any of that, remember, reach out. Same concept, email template, like watch the rest of these videos to learn how to do it because it's the same exact process. And again, if you have questions about the politics, reach out to me privately. Come to the classes. You can ask me questions there about how to switch teams. And make sure you watch this whole video. You can fast forward through it as you already know. Okay, much love. Talk to you guys soon. Oh, Jesus.